The West knows it. They see the rise of India legitimate. You are no more dependent on somebody developing in their laboratories and you are going and begging, please give me. You are exporting. You have given vaccine to 100 countries in the world. Now, the external thing. I told you about handling of neighbors. Terror, Uri and Balakot. Afterwards, there was no cross-border terror of a magnitude India had to fear about. And then I told you about Ladakh. And amid COVID time, Jaishankar, who had come for the Tughlaq function, he told me, he told the audience, when the Chinese thought if they attacked India at the time when COVID was raging in India, India will not be able to repulse the attack. We gave them back. It was shocking for China. It's a different India. And India has a global pharmacy, now handling geopolitics. We have the traditional ally in Russia. We have the strategic ally in US. US can't give us up. You know why? The liberal democracy in India or in the world is only 13% of world's population. More than half the world is under autocracy. If we don't stand with the liberal democracies, there will be no liberal democracy in the world. These guys were rating Indian democracy. It's not liberal. Now they say, come on, you are part of us. Why? We are not a liberal democracy. We will not be a liberal democracy. We should not be a liberal democracy. We are a civilizational democracy. We recognize all the constituents of there are caste-based parties, there are religion-based parties, there are language-based parties. These are all completely anti-liberalism. But we recognize all that. We have a functioning democracy. We are able to tick together, work together, speak together, travel together, grow together. It's not a joke. Nowhere in the world, you know, when France was formed, when Italy was formed, less than 2% of these people spoke French language. Less than 1% of these people spoke Italian language. They were all constructed as state by the might of the king. India evolved because of its civilizational model. Mahatma Gandhi mentions it in Hind Swaraj. You must all read. The man who understood India, he told the British how India remains one. It remains one because of its civilizational values. People travel from one end of the country to the other. M.J. Akbar wrote, the greatest unifier of India was Adi Shankara. Do we understand all this? This cannot happen by army. It cannot happen by state power. It's an evolution. That's why every time the West thought India would collapse, it never obliged them. It's now rising. It has shaken the West. Now special relations will anyone with Modi, BJP, Hindutva, RSS, all the campaign, Middle Eastern countries are our closest allies. Then Pakistan being reduced to footprint in history. Emergence as a regional leader. Today, nobody can challenge us in the region. I am not going to Upper Asia. I am talking about down. Then civilizational and strategic ties with Israel. I mean, we have ties with every one of consequence in the world. We have special ties with France, which is vetoing any attempt of the European Union against India. See the geopolitical strategies we have made. So, on the Ukraine stand, the world was shaken, Western world, by the stand that Modi took. Because it has a history. The West kept on expanding the NATO. Russia begged. He said, we will join the NATO. Please don't expand the NATO. We are willing to join the European Union. These were all the appeals that Russia was making. Yeltsin and all these people went, don't expand. The Cold War is over. The Americans thought they had won and it is their responsibility and the duty and the obligation to rule the world. It was in fact, Henry Kissinger, who knew about geopolitics more than anyone else in the world, advised the Americans not to go for NATO expansion, not to go for grabbing Ukraine. But some giant secretary wrote a note, this is an opportunity for us to rule the world. A joint secretary in America wrote a note that was accepted and that landed in America in a mess, the world in a mess. We knew the background of the Ukraine war. And so we said in Ukraine war, you cannot say it is unjust. We are not going to say it is just or unjust. With the result, we have been able to manage our energy crisis so well. We have been able to reframe the energy economy of the world. If India had not taken that position, I don't think Middle East countries would have been able to stand up to America. You must understand how it is like an echo. So, India is at the center of geopolitics today. India, as the largest and the powerful country in terms of geography, in terms of technology, in terms of every other thing which the world values today, we are now a very important factor. India as the only democratic alternative to the world. If India is not there with the democratic countries, I can tell you democratic countries will be reduced to mere islands in the world. You may have ICBM atom bombs. What will you do? Your geopolitical reach, influence will not be there. You need India. So my feeling is that our time has come. In fact, I only remember what Ratan Tata said. I will close with that. He said, my only regret is I am not 20 years younger, because I think that India is going through a very exciting period in its history. I also feel I am 74. I don't know whether I will be able to see that India for which you all worked for 50 years, the India of our dream. Many of you will be able to see it. Thank you very much.